Okay, live? Oh, we'll wait for this.
Yes.
I have a motion to return to public session, please.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are now back in public session. So I believe the first item on our agenda is to interview a candidate for our open board seat. And by virtue of the technology available to us, we are able to do that virtually. Welcome, Mrs. Schumann.
Hi, everybody. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. I can hear and see you.
So first, thanks for applying for our open seat, and I believe we all the board has a copy of your cover letter and your resume. What I'd like to do is offer you maybe a quick opportunity to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then I'll turn it over to our board members to potentially ask you some questions, if that's all right.
Okay, that sounds great. So first of all, thank you so much for inviting me here tonight. I'm Elizabeth Schumann. I live in Wantage. We have 4 children, 3 of whom were in High Point this past year. 1 just graduated. Another is coming in a couple of years. So it's good to be with all of you. I just want to commend you for a job well done over this past year. It was a very difficult year of decision making, having to please many different stakeholders. And so I just recognize that it was a very difficult task that you had at hand. I just want to commend you for your excellent work on that. So my background is I am currently a teacher at the charter school in Sparta. I've been there for 5 years. Prior to that, I worked at Project Self-Sufficiency for about 7 years in different capacities, but a lot of it was case management, working with the Hispanic population. So I am bilingual and have connections with the community through that. And then I was a high school teacher before that at a technical high school. So that's my professional background. And I'm just, interested. Our family, just so you know, a little background about how I even came to be interested in this kind of position. We chose High Point. We care about High Point a lot. We were out of district for my eldest daughter's first 2 years, and we did school choice to come to High Point for various reasons, for the excellent teachers, programs, electives, and the way that we had a connection with the community. So we did school choice for 2 years and then moved into the district 2 years ago to be a part of things more closely. So that's some backgrounds from.
Okay, thank you. I don't know that we have a particular order. Maybe we can go down the line from the furthest to closest. I'll end up with any of the last questions. So to put Mr. Klein on the spot.
Hi Liz, how are you?
Hi Rich, good to see you.
Christian school, we've volunteered for a lot of things together, and it sounds like you're like a spokesperson for High Point with that little speech that you just had there. So I really have no questions because I know this pretty well. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Leanne Smith. So as you may have seen and read some things in the paper, you'll realize that not all of the things that are presented are 100% truthful or presented in a way that is either fair to whomever it is. So I guess my question just is, do you have skin and a strong backbone? Because
I'd like to think that I do. I think it's always hard to get bad press, especially on something that's unjust. And you want to defend yourself, but sometimes you have to be above that and just keep presenting the truth clearly. So I think that as long as you're on message with the truth as much as you can be and kind of make those connections with the press to try to build relationships with them to get them on your side, I think that always helps with something like that.
I don't have any questions at this point.
Okay.
I don't have any questions either. I appreciate you applying and willing to go get that fabulous pay for this.
That's a question.
Yeah.
For a phone number.
Hi, my name is Joe Carrazza. The one question I have, and I know it was a shock to me, and I think Rich made mention of this at the last meeting, is I just want to, what is your understanding of our role, the board, what we do? Because I think, I'm not too certain many people know the limited role that we have, so I'm just curious what you feel our role is.
Okay. Well, I'm saying, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the role of the board is to support the work of the school. So help the school to run as well as possible, to support the vision of the superintendent, to help set policy moving forward, make some of those decisions, and to keep everyone on track in line with that policy that's set. And correct me if I'm wrong on any of that.
No, no correction necessary. That's the answer, thank you.
I don't really have any questions either. I think that was my concern, that most people don't understand the limited role. It's a wonderful role, but it's limited in scope of a Board of Education member. And I'm impressed that you are so involved in public education, so you have an understanding of what it is that the school wants to accomplish. I had that also, but I did not have a good understanding of what the board's role was when I joined the board 3 terms ago. And it's a very different role, and it's very rewarding, but it's very different than what is perceived by the public and also by the people in the district. So it's something you're gonna love learning about it. I'll tell you that right now. You're gonna love learning about it. So thank you.
And could you just share what is your name? I missed your name.
I'm Debbie Anderson. I taught here at High Point for 30 some years, and I've been on the board for 9 years, so.
I think I still have my A.
Yeah, I had everybody here in class. Not me.
Hi, I'm Spencer Arnold. I'm also from Wantage, Vice President of the board. I don't have any questions for you. Thanks for applying. Appreciate you coming tonight.
I got a good word in for you from Mr. Kappelmeyer, by the way, and John. So they mentioned your name.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well,
Wayne, can I add one thing?
sure.
Just to touch on, it's Rich Klein again, just to touch on what Joe was saying, we had an ethics class. And what really stuck out in my mind at the end of the class was that she said, amongst some other things that we have as responsibilities, but the most important thing is that we're here for the kids.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good clarity.
So I guess I play anchorman on questions then. So it's an interesting situation being appointed to an open seat in that, particularly in a regional school where our board is composed of representatives from all of the districts, Wantage Township, Sussex Borough, Frankfurt Township, Lafayette Township, and Branchville Borough, Borough of Branchville. They all get to potentially weigh in on a candidate from another district. This is the only time where, it doesn't go to the voters of the township or borough. It's the board that sits here that gets to choose that. So I say that for your benefit, but also for everybody here. My one question would be, if you were appointed to fill this seat, you would have to potentially run for election as of November of this year to be able to maintain that seat. Are you interested in running for that seat, which means you would have to submit a petition, I believe, by August something?
July 31st.
July 31st. Is that something you?
So I am interested, and I did submit my nominating petition already a few days ago.
Excellent. Okay, so you're well ahead of the game.
I haven't talked to
Most of the rest of us handed in July 30th or 29th.
Well, not all of us.
I do not 31st.
Okay, that was a good question. The other, I guess, as a teacher in another district, I have to assume that you would be a conflicted member as far as it comes to voting on certain contracts and such. Are you aware that you are?
She's in charge. Oh, she's part of it.
You are part of?
Oh, for
part of
husband,
the-
right.
And JEI?
They are, they're partners.
Okay. So the question is, you are part of a bargaining unit?
I'm sorry, could you just repeat the
Sure.
question one more time?
Are you part of the NJEA or a bargaining unit that would require you to be a conflicted member and not be able to vote on teacher contracts?
I'm actually not a member of the NJEA.
Okay.
But my husband is a teacher and he is a member of the NJEA, so I don't know if that would be a conflict of interest. He works for Lenape Valley, so that's just something to be aware of.
Sure. We think that does qualify, but our attorney would have to be the final say on that. Yes.
That's my situation.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And that is not a disqualifier by any stretch, but we do have a few other conflicted members. And if we get potentially to a point where we have too many, that could be a concern. That's the only reason I asked that.
Okay.
That's,
Committees, I guess, right?
what's that?
Are you available to take part in the committee, like, because we each are part of, I would say about 3 or 4 committees. So we are, aside from the board meetings, we meet
A week before.
the week beforehand, in about 3 different, are you available for that as well?
And they meet monthly, I'm assuming?
For the
And then,
most-
okay, yes, I am available for that.
Thank you.
Any, that's all the questions I have. Anybody else have a follow-up question? With Ms. Schuman on the line, I would propose, I'd like to make a motion to accept the candidate for our open board seat.
Second.
Any discussion that we didn't just already have discussion on? If not, may I have a roll call on that?
Yes. Ms. Tadona?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Caraza?
Yes.
Ms. Nugent?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks for your vote of confidence. Appreciate it.
See you soon.
So what-
Welcome. I believe there is potentially some background check paperwork and things that have to be
Yep,
completed.
yep, so Ms. Schuman, it's Tina Pausek, we've been emailing back and forth. Did you get your archive fingerprints or?
I have not gotten that yet, but I will get that for you. And what is the date that you need that by?
Within 30 days of tonight?
Okay,
And
You
usually
will
the
have it.
archive is much faster, so we did have some conversations before.
Yeah, so which 30 days roughly brings us to our next public board meeting, which currently is scheduled for the 20th of July, but very potentially might move to the following Tuesday, the 27th.
okay.
Some
I'll
conflict.
try to for the 20th, okay?
And at that time, we can either swear you in virtually or in person, right?
Yes, we can do that.
Depending on.
Okay.
We're-
Okay, if it's 20th, I may be virtual still. If it's the 27th, I may be in person. I'm not, but it might be virtual still. But I will be in email contact.
Yep, sounds perfect.
Congratulations and
Okay.
welcome again.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Vacation.
Am I able to, should I leave the meeting now? Am I able to go or?
Whatever you
I
wish.
believe you're welcome to attend as a member of our public, just as you are dialed, if you'd like. Certainly.
We can also-
Sure.
We wouldn't think less of you.
Good night.
Okay.
I'll join later in July, okay?
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Good night.
Okay, returning to our agenda, I believe we have no unfinished business. So we'll proceed to approval of minutes. Alex, I can read through those.
Yes. Okay, the May 25th meeting was a regularly scheduled meeting. It went through staff and student accomplishments. There was a board vote on the execution of different grants, ESCA, IDA, Perkins, and any COVID, allowing the business office and the director of curriculum to take whatever action we need to secure monies from those grants. There was votes on staff positions, summer extended school year, the Mashios contract for our food service contract, and some disposal of items using gov deals. We also had a vote on the bus number 21 sale. And in executive session, there was a general discussion on the superintendent's evaluation it has officially been postponed to July 31st. I did not know that, that was an accident at the last meeting, so I got that correct, sorry. And we talked about negotiations in executive session, which those items cannot be disclosed because they're still ongoing. June 14th was a special meeting, and that was to discuss the ESSER3 in a public discussion. There were stakeholders on a virtual platform meeting where people offered suggestions and ideas on the use of money. Mr. Campbell presented a plan for a tentative plan and explained that we have to review it every 6 months to make sure that it is active and current. And we also discussed the safe return to school plan. And the executive session again was for the superintendent's evaluation.
So may I have a motion on those minutes?
Motion.
Second.
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 Any discussion or comments, corrections? Any? Roll call, please.
Mr. Klein?
Yes, excluding the special meeting, June 14th, I wasn't present for the entire meeting.
Thank you. Ms. Nugent?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Caraza?
Yes.
Ms. Sedona?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
We will now open for public comments on agenda items only. We ask that you state your name and address. I'll read this statement. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, we will open public comments for agenda items only at this time. Each speaker should state his name and address. You will have 3 minutes to address the board, which will be timed by the board president. We will limit this selection to no longer than 45 minutes. Please be respectful and mindful that your comments are being recorded. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to make public comments, we invite you to step to the podium. Not, I'll look to see if we have anyone in our virtual.
Yeah, one person here. Just let them know they can use the hand raise feature if they want to ask a question.
So if you're attending our meeting virtually, you can raise your hand virtually and we'll recognize you and unmute your microphone so you can make public comments directly to the board. Seeing no hands? I have a motion to close public comments.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? First public comment session is now closed. So proceeding to presentations. Do not believe we have a student council presentation. So.
Different presentation.
Okay.
HPEA, we have anyone online? We didn't hear that they were going to be in attendance, right?
We
I
expected,
didn't hear that they would not be.
we truly expected that.
So
Okay,
they're always on our agenda,
yes,
whether or not they show up is,
If they notify me beforehand, I would leave.
okay.
right. We leave an open presentation slot for them and they're not in attendance, virtually, okay. So then next up is the principal's report in athletics. Are you pulling double duty?
No, I'm not. No.
Okay. So, without further ado, curriculum and instruction. Apple.
Mr. Camp.
I cannot be more excited. So, I will be relatively brief.
Relatively.
All right, good. 2021. Peraza on your children's graduation. It was 2 weeks ago. The internet to inform you that it was really cooler on that evening. It was. Congratulations to Mr. As always, worked phenomenal event. This is the class, as we know, will experience have this moment. Which wasn't helpful. And it was just an awesome night. Like a wonderful experience. Congratulations to all our students. I'd like to thank the board for their support, both in committee and at recent meetings. Our academy, phenomenal. We are 6 days into the 16th, and we have 60 students who doing a 90-minute block of academics. 90-minute block of academics, grab their lunch out. Building. I'm not unsolicited. I've probably heard students said to them, I'm really liking this and I'm glad I did it. I wish we did it. It's summer school. They're saying that about satisfaction. You feel good? They walk in the top, the trips to rice and every morning. It's really, really nice experience. So we're thrilled. I've signed up to provide instruction. In this weather, and she's outside as a lesson with parallel to life and how you have to things. It's been fantastic. Yeah, I was looking at the number of courses that students. About the majority, half of the students earn multiple credit in the are here taking advantage of that opportunity. So in terms roughly of the students, we're really proud of our students that have been strong numbers. Regularly absent thank, work for taking June 14th. Discuss our, school plan. On our website, it has been some education. Our full schedule. Having a little bit of a lull these 2 weeks as we live, but and developing every aspect of the schedule, of spacing. So that's, one of the high points. Moving over here, we're on camera here. Mr. Sahas Suri, who will be sharing about his experience at our neighbors. I want to thank the team at Sussex Rural. They occasionally allow us to when we're at Sussex Rural. So they're about orange as the crow flies. Claudia, Chris Reese, their CEO. They've been a community partner, and so we're grateful for their our top students, the future. Smith, right? Yeah, I like today. No, it was kind of. Taco Bell and Franklin. But Sahas. Probably 6 more this year. So he'll shift keys into working with. Work done before. About what you did. Yeah. Take a while. So I just wanted to start by. Everyone there. And then we kind of went. Any questions I had. We started. Some of my favorite.
see that at
And the internship is structured, it's 10 visits, so 10 two-hour visits, so it's very manageable in the afternoon. And once they show you an overview of what a cooperative is, they teach you a little bit about the business side of it, the marketing side of it. And then Sahas basically shadowed a project from where they determined that they needed a new pole or a new, in this case, a new transformer.
Yep.
Learned all about each step and culminated in a fabulous experience. We plan to,
Oh, yeah. So they have their mechanical. They have their. Because most of them are like.
Sahas, I'm gonna make a request of you, because you're gonna be in school this year. You didn't take this internship your senior year and graduate, so you're in school this year. You need to plug this program, you need to reach out to all the kids that you know, say, get involved in this internship. Make Mr. Campbell create more internships so that more kids can go out there and do this.
and to Sussex Rural's credit, they have said they've enjoyed it so much, they said, we would love to do it with a student who wants to focus on marketing, or who wants to focus on something less focused on engineering,
Yeah.
different business side of it.
Which is great, but here's your marketer right here. You guys, you go out there and you grab those kids and say, come down here and figure this out, because they'll go, you'll be able to speak to them about it.
Yeah, there's one I want to do it.
Good.
Things like that.
Do it.
And I will say our rotating drop block is particularly complementary to this, because Sahas only missed,
Yeah, it was easy. Where it was the hour and a half lunch, and the two classes. Why don't we switch back? So I could just go. It takes like 2 seconds to get.
on Tuesday afternoon and not miss the same class each time.
Yeah.
Nice job. Sahas, sorry.
That's it for our presentation.
You don't want to see it.
You gotta have something to do.
That was the end of your presentation, so you can.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Wow, whoa.
And most
Just to be clear.
I wanna add to that a little bit, because he's done, we've talked about it in committee. My son is actually in the summer program, and he's acing it, by the way, in algebra. And because he couldn't learn online, and I get that. So, but he came home and he was energized, and he said exactly what you said about, we were outside, we were reading, and she explained to us how weeding things out of your life, and I said, that's exactly what we had said today when he came home. So I just want to commend you on that program, because it's obviously, by the amount of kids that are showing up, at a positive attitude, it's a great thing.
It's good vibe.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Fantastic.
We have no other business, so I think we will then move directly into action items, curriculum, instruction, and technology.
So I have, so we have items 1, 2, and 3. So the number 1 is just the faculty attendance rate of 93.8% for May, and the student attendance rate for May, 93.2%. And then the enclosed suspension report for May. And then I'm going to move action items 4 through 9 together. So number 4 It is recommended that the board approves the HIB report for May 25th through June 29th as attached. Number 5, it's recommended that the board approve the curricular field trips as attached. Number 6, it is recommended the board approve professional development activities as attached. Number 7, it is recommended that the board approve the revised 21-22 school calendar as attached. Number 8, it is recommended that the board approves the annual comprehensive equity plan statement of assurance 21-22, which has been completed by the affirmative action team in accordance with and under the authority of policy 1523 as attached. And number 9, it is recommended that the board approve the agreement for services with the ARC of New Jersey, which is an organization that advocates for and serves children with intellectual disabilities. Planning for Adult Life staff will teach skills related to transitioning to adult life to students participating in the ESY or extended school year program at no charge as attached. Making a motion, seeking a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call please.
Ms. Sedona,
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Klein,
Yes.
Ms. Nugent,
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Mr. Arnold,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
all motions carried.
Next up, in action items is personnel.
I'd like to move items 1, 2, 3 together. 1 is that it's recommended by the superintendent that the Board of Ed approves Ms. Courtney Delaney as supervisor of pupil personnel services. 2, approve Mr. Patrick Wolf as teacher of technology education. And 3, approve Ms. Tina Pedosek as business administrative board secretary for the 2021-22 school year. Making a motion, seeking a second.
Second.
Discussion?
Ms. Delaney is actually chose to be here this evening, and I thought that was an exceptional demonstration of hopefully her excitement to be a part of what we're doing here. And I will tell you that I and the administration, she has spent some time, are excited to have her be a part of our team.
Welcome.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yes. It's wonderful to be here.
I tried to get her to start on July 1st. Said no.
She also said that her board meetings, her previous district was New York City, with slightly more people at the meetings.
Well, wait a while.
It does happen.
They can change over time.
Okay, roll call vote?
Mr. Klein,
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Caraza,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Sedona,
Yes.
Ms. Nugent,
Yes.
Mr. Arnold,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
all pass.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I'd like to move items 4, 5, 6, 7, 4, 5, 6, and 7 together. 4 is, it's recommended by the superintendent that the Board of Ed approve summer work days for the child study team and guidance sectors as listed below. 5, approval for bus drivers for the ESY program and summer academy as needed. 6, to approve the revision for Cheryl Dempsey to reflect the substitute nurse per diem rate for the extended school year program. And 7, it is recommended by the superintendent that the Board of Ed approve summer workshop days. The workshop rate for the staff members is listed below. And making a motion, seeking a second.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Ms. Sedona,
Yes.
Mr. Caraza,
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Klein,
Yes.
Ms. Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Nugent,
Yes.
Mr. Arnold,
Yes.
Mr. Dunn,
Yes.
all motions carried.
I'd like to move 8 and 9 together. 8 is recommended by the superintendent that the Board of Ed approves Marge Darren and Deborah Suter as job coaches for the 2021-2022 school year. And 9, recommended by the superintendent that the Board of Ed approves the retroactive payment of the following guidance counselors for proctoring and AP exams during the afternoon, evening hours of the spring. Making a motion, seeking a second.
Second.
Discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mr. Caraza?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Sedona?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Ms. Nugent?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Moving right along to extracurricular.
I will move items 1 through 7 together. 1 is recommended by the superintendent that the board accept the resignation of Christopher Dexter as head basketball coach for 2021-2022 school year. Number 2, recommended that the board approves the following extracurricular appointments for the 21-22 school year as listed. Number 3, recommended that the board approves the new cooperative agreement with Walker Valley High School for the 21-22 and 22-23 school years for winter track. Walker Valley will serve as the lead for this sport. Number 4, it is recommended that the board approves the cooperative agreement with Walk Hill Valley High School for 21-22 and 22-23 school years for the following sports: boys lacrosse and boys and girls swimming. Number 5, my favorite, is recommended that the board approves the tri-operative agreement with Walk Hill Valley High School and Kittatinny High School for the 2021, 22, and 22-23 school years for ice hockey. Number 6, it is recommended that the board approve the NJSIAA membership dues for the 2021-22 school year in the amount of $2,500. And number 7 is recommended that the board approve the following volunteers to help with the marching band and the completion of a background check by our Director of Security, Brielle Morris and Dominic Kozlowski. Take a motion, seeking a second. Second. Any discussion?
I'll just say that several people over at Kittatinny are very excited for that try.
I think it's great.
Try.
Try
We're gonna try.
Number 3, winter track, is that new? Or is that?
It is.
Yes.
It is.
Nice.
We have, as you've seen, we've had cooperatives with Walk Hill, and because they do winter track and we don't, we thought it would be appropriate to give our kids at minimal cost.
We used to have it a
Oh, we
million
did.
years ago.
Don Farnes.
Yeah.
Don Carnes, did you just say that?
Yeah.
Go Don Carnes, winter track.
Anybody else? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Ms. Nugent?
Yes.
Mr. Caraza?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Sedona?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
All motions carried.
It's like we have one item under policy.
It's recommended by the superintendent that the Board of Ed approves the first reading of the following new policies. Policy number 3421.13, postnatal accommodations, attachment D1A, and policy 4421.13, postnatal accommodations, attachment D1B. Making a motion, seeking a second.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Sedona?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mr. Caraza?
Yes.
Ms. Nugent?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Motion carried.
We have no negotiations items, but the board negotiations committee is looking forward to meeting with the HPEA negotiations team Thursday evening. We also have no buildings and grounds items. So we'll move on to finance. Finance, I'd like to move items 1 through 6 together in finance. 1 is a recommendation to accept the report of the board secretary business administrator for the month of May 2021. 2 is a recommendation to accept the report of the treasurer for the month of May 2021. 3 is a recommendation to approve the report of transfers and the minimum expense transfer report for the month of May 2021. Item 4 is a recommendation to approve for payment the attached schedule of audited bills dated June 29th, 2021. Item 5 is a recommendation to accept the adult education, agency account, athletic account, cafeteria account, principal's petty cash account, scholarship account, school store account, and student activities account for the month of May 2021. And item 6 is a recommendation to approve the schedule of tax payments for the 2021-2022 school year. I'll make that motion, seeking a second.
Second.
Any discussion on any of those fun items?
Ms. Nugent?
Yes.
Mr. Caraza?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Ms. Sedona?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
All motions carried.
Okay, item 7 is a resolution that I will read quickly. As a recommendation by superintendent that the board approves the following resolution. Be it resolved that the board approves the following resolution for monies into capital reserve and maintenance reserve at the end of the 2020-2021 school year. Whereas the NJSA as listed permit a Board of Education to establish and or deposit into certain reserve accounts at year end, and whereas the aforementioned statutes authorize procedures under the authority of the Commissioner of Education which permit a Board of Education to transfer unanticipated excess current revenue or unexpended appropriations into reserve accounts during the month of June by board resolution, and whereas the High Point Regional Board of Education wishes to transfer unanticipated excess current year revenue or unexpended appropriations from the general fund into the capital reserve and maintenance reserve accounts at year end, and whereas the High Point Regional Board of Education wishes to transfer unanticipated excess current year revenue or unexpended appropriations from the general fund into the maintenance reserve account at year end, and whereas the High Point Regional Board of Education has determined that an amount not to exceed $200,000 is available for such purpose of transfer, and whereas the High Point Regional Board of Education wishes to transfer unanticipated excess current year revenue or unexpended appropriations from the general fund into the capital reserve account at year end, and whereas the High Point Regional Board of Education has determined that an amount not to exceed $500,000 is available for such a purpose of transfer, now therefore be it resolved by the High Point Regional Board of Education that it hereby authorizes the district's school business administrator to make this transfer consistent with all applicable laws and regulations. Make that motion. May I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Comments? Thoughts?
Do you want to explain what that all means? Because I think the public would be interested in knowing what that means. It's a good thing.
Sure. This is a standard resolution at the end of each year, and we set an amount not to be exceeded to allow the auditors to move money into either the maintenance reserve or the capital reserve. So we're allocating that we can put money into maintenance reserve. It has more uses, it has less restrictions. Capital reserve is for construction, or facility projects that are larger in cost. So if the money that we have surplus in our budget at the end, the auditors will determine what we have as encumbered for costs, what we will have in expenditures that we book for the following year, and if there's money that is available, we will put up to the amounts in this resolution into those accounts. If the $150,000 that we utilized in our revenue for the 21-22 budget is not used, any of the remaining will also go back into those reserve accounts, depending on how we work out our finances and what grants are available to assist us in our budget for the next year.
It is a facilities not used anywhere else in the district. It's
Correct, they're very restricted on
Yeah.
what, even though maintenance reserve has a wider door to allow different purchases, it's still very specific on what it can be used for. It cannot be utilized for anything other than maintenance, falls under specific categories, or capital projects, which is very, very restricted, which you need the long-range facility plan to support those activities.
Thanks.
Yeah, wanted to make sure we mentioned the long-range facilities plan
Mhm.
that we have in place, which is 5 years forward-looking.
Yes, and any changes that we believe we may need on that plan, we need to think way in advance, because currently there's only 2 people working in that office at the state. So if we want something for next year, we really need to take action on that in order to get it through, because to say that it's a slow-moving process at this time is, yes, that would be very generous.
Any other discussion on that one? No? Roll call.
Ms. Sedona?
Yes.
Ms. Nugent?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Caraza?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Motion carries.
I will move 8 through 18. 18 is actually in the separate addendum, so 8 through 17 are in the current agenda. Item 8 is a recommendation to approve the following vendors for professional services for the 2021-2022 school year, and they are as listed there below. 9 is a recommendation that the board will not require Willow Glen Academy in Lakeland Andover to apply for and receive funding from the New Jersey Child Nutrition Program, nor charge students for a reduced and/or paid meal for any classified students from High Point Regional High School. Item 10 is a recommendation to approve an agreement between High Point Board of Ed and J&D Therapy LLC, provide occupational, physical, and speech therapy as needed for 2021-2022 school year. Item 11 is a recommendation to approve an agreement between High Point Board of Ed and Mary Ellen Diffley to provide physical therapy services as needed for the 2021-2022 school year. Item 11 is recommendation to approve an agreement between the Ed Services Commission of Morris County and the High Point Board of Ed to provide professional support, non-public services as needed for the 2021-2022 school year. Item 13 is a recommendation to approve the annual service contract with water management services for water treatment plant for the 2021-2020 school year. Item 14 is a recommendation to approve an agreement between the New Jersey School Boards Association on behalf of the NJSBA Cooperative Pricing System and the High Point Regional Board of Ed to participate in the ACES Cooperative Pricing System for the 2021-2022 school year. Item 15 is a recommendation to approve and authorize the execution of the following tuition contracts between the High Point Regional High School as ascending district and the following districts that are in related information that are listed there below on both pages, front and back. Item 16 is a recommendation to approve the disposal, recycling of ID department items that are obsolete or in disrepair, and they're as listed on the attachment G7. Item 17 is a recommendation to approve STEM inventory disposal as listed in the table there below. And item 18 is a recommendation to approve and authorize execution of the School Food Authority vendor contract, SFA to SFA contract, with Montague Township School effective July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. This SFA to SFA contract establishes High Point Regional High School as the vendor and Montague as the recipient for meals utilizing High Point's current contract with Mascios Food and Services. So I make a motion for items 8 through 18. May I have a second?
Second.
Any comments or discussion on those items? Seeing none. Roll call.
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Ms. Nugent?
Yes.
Mr. Caraza?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Sedona?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
And now up transportation.
Remove items 1 through 4 together. Item 1 is recommended the board approve the execution of the quoted contracts for athletic trips for the 2021 school year as listed. Item 2, it is recommended the board approve the parent contract with the parent of a listed student for ESY program as listed. Item 3 is recommended we approve joint transportation agreement for the listed student for the ESY program as listed. Item number 4 is recommended we approve the execution of the quoted contract for transportation of a special needs student for the ESY program as listed. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call please.
Ms. Sedona?
Yes.
Ms. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Nugent?
Yes.
Mr. Klein?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Caraza?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Dunn?
Yes.
All motions carried.
That concludes action items. I don't believe we have any correspondence. And I don't think we have anything under miscellaneous. We have an item there listed, school board mandated training. Please contact the board office if you need to be scheduled. So leads us to our second public comments session of the evening. Same rules apply as the earlier session. I do not see anybody here in attendance in person. Anybody virtually?
We know how to bring in a crowd.
I'm
Badge of honor.
not gonna look into the crystal ball whether that is good or bad. Well, can I have a motion then to close public comment session?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Non-committee board member reports or comments. Anyone so inclined?
You know, I'm gonna tell you that the Chamber of Commerce breakfast happened for the second time in person at Friendly's in Sussex. And it's a great group of people and the town, Sussex and Wantage, their town government represents. I'm there to represent High Point and the local businesses are there. And it's great, and I'm glad to be able to go there and tell them how wonderful they are. And I told them about Sahas, but they've got their representative from Sussex Rural Electric, so they were presenting Sahas. So Sahas was the star of the breakfast. So it was great. So I enjoy that, and I'm glad for the opportunity that the school is a member of that group. It's good for everybody.
My dad's staying on your long-term plan, I think, in the future.
Forever and ever.
I'd just like to add, I relayed this to Dr. Ripley earlier in the week privately, but publicly, I'd like to thank the grounds crew, Mr. Talamy, all of the staff who put together the graduation ceremony that we had in person on the field. As a parent of a graduating senior, it was a very nice event. The weather, everything worked out perfectly. The weather worked out. I think the kids enjoyed themselves, but it was really just a very nice, well-run, organized. The field looked great, the grounds looked great, everything was top class, and it was really a very nice way for these students to end their high school career, and I just wanted to publicly thank all those people who were involved.
I 100% agree as a fellow parent of a graduating student and my last of three, so it was a great event. It was really, really good.
And I know we did talk about this, it's non-committee before, but I just wanted to say thank you again to Mr. Campbell for the summer program that he put together, worked hard, very hard to make sure these kids got what they need, not just to throw some money at teachers to get the academics in place, but he really thought through the social emotional component that was so needed, and it was a lot of work behind the scenes, and it's obviously
10 days to go, so still.
job well done, thank you.
Any other comments? We have the one item listed here under comments for the purposes of public disclosure in accordance with the Open Public Records Act. The High Point Regional High School office has received and responded to the following Oprah requests over the past month. The board will continue to provide this information on a monthly basis. We have one item listed, it's a request for all maintenance construction purchase orders from August 1st, 2019 through October 21st, 2020 at an approximate cost of $194.01. So that's for information purposes only. There are no other comments. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You are adjourned.
Some here that won't take it. I won't let you.